It's our 100th episode of Leading Out Loud.
Wow.
That was loud. It was loud enough.
And what we're talking about, Ted. We're talking about the power of changing one's mind.
So, okay. Or the script. Welcome to Leading Out Loud. This
I don't just talk stuff and repeat stuff. I'm living this stuff. And you can thank me for covering your astro.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Leading Out Loud, the spiritual shift show that is still the most energetic and evolving on TV. I'm step astrologer and channel sensei Christopher Witecki.
And I'm celebrity astrologer David Palmer, the Leo King.
I love it, David. And I'm Scott Cruz, psychic medium and mentor with scottcruzpm.com. It's a thick week.
I think it's a profound week, actually, because I think for the first time humans are waking up that their mind is not the most intelligent part of them. And that's been, I think, our flaw for like 1,000 years, tucked in our mind. But this is really remarkable. I was talking about with my subscribers. It's like we have never had Uranus energy like it is now in Gemini, with having also Pluto and Aquarius in our modern era. So it's like we literally are opening the ceiling of what's possible. But I think what it comes down to is lifting the ceiling of wherever you've kind of put yourself down or held yourself back with your mind. I think that's been my observation of how individuals have.
Yeah, I think, I've been saying for a while, people are becoming more discerning, becoming more intuitive, more psychically aware, seeing through, like almost like the lies have become more transparent. People are seeing through it. And so maybe a lot of people don't understand that they're being intuitive or psychic about it, but definitely seeing that beyond, and we talk about conspiracy theories that we've believed in. I feel like a lot of them might already coming true or have already proven to be true. I think a lot of you guys do as well. So that's just me a sign of the times that we're definitely evolving more into what's the truth. As simple as that sounds.
Yeah, I think, it's been kind of interesting living in Orange County and having this whole crazy Garden Grove thing, like 15 miles from me, and noticing how many people really, kind of freak out. But then at the same time, it's like we're in a world now where things change so even faster than I think we thought. Like we were going over the stories earlier backstage, and it's like, one story happens and then the next version of that story and the next version, all in a 24-hour period. You have 5 versions of what's happening and everything's moving. And I think right now to find grounding is changing, right? It's like you have to be more in the moment and you have to be kind of just like going with things opposed to holding position too much and just staying in that one place, because it's kind of weird with all this just energy that's changing. It's going to evolve in every different way. How we ground, how we find, a sense of peace even is changing now. Like you just can't keep doing that old way.
That old way is escape, I think. I feel like we, I think for the dark ages got pretty damn painful and we all sort of like started tuning out. And I think we tuned in the future. I think we dwelled on the past. And I feel what you're saying, David, I agree. It's like we're being forced into the now, the dot now, really. It's like all power is in the now. And that's the irony. Had we been focused on the now, we may not have lost our power. I'm talking as a species and whatnot. But it feels like we're being forced. You have no choice. Even if a moment ago was this, what about now? Things are changing really fast.
Yeah, I would like to know, Scott, what are you picking up psychically? I mean, like, what's in the psychic vibe right now?
Well, I've been saying for, especially with May, was kind of month of movement, of realization. April was like the Hall of Mirrors psychically, as far as like showing to you exactly the things that have been unresolved karmically. And so we've been forced to push to look at that. And so to concur what you guys are saying about, finding what's grounding, that the definitions of what's grounding has definitely changed. I think what people have noticed, especially now when they find the integration in June specifically, that goes to saying, different people, different forms of communities that we find grounding, right? The different activities that we participate in, we're changing what we're finding grounding, which is more integration with community. So I really feel like this movement of May has been pushing us into June, into more integration with people, community, and so many different expressions. So it's rather simplistic, but I feel even within that simplicity, things become very more dynamical. A lot of times I read people psychically and I'm just like, there's not enough dynamic. We want all these things, but we're not including ourselves and integrating to create more dynamic in our lives. And I feel like that's what June is bringing for us a lot. And I think a lot of people will be on their individual tracks, but what's going collectively as far as with the, with the revelation of our government and our world, I think a lot of people will be taking a backseat to that, as I do feel the economy will be rising, slightly during this time too. So we're on a little bit of an uptick psychically. Not so much we've been dipping so long. I do feel that there will be an uptick, in that sense, starting June and July, but more of the integration energy. What does the astrology say, guys, in regards to that too?
I mean, it's a big full moon that's happening this week, and it's happening on top of the stars Aldebaran and Antares, which we all have in our charts. It's Archangel Michael against kind of the big great red giant Antares down in Sagittarius. And so this is kind of the battle of good and evil, believe it or not, this full moon hits. And at the same time, we got Venus in Cancer squaring Saturn in Aries, which this is bringing up a lot of pressure on this full moon of like, how do we change? How do we get out of our old belief systems? We got Mercury that's finishing in Gemini. We got all this Uranus Gemini energy. And so it's really about this light is about being open-minded, not being stuck in beliefs, right? So like, it's kind of ironic because our beliefs what kind of create the idea of bad and good and dark and light, evil and good too. But I think that, the understanding right now in your life is you have to be open-minded. You got to try different things, and your comfort systems that you feel good with, are they in alignment with that true self, right? So sometimes we actually get stuck in the belief of like, this is what I visualize that's going to feel good in my life. But does that actually go with the real version of who you are now? So I think everybody this week astrologically has to like change their mind by letting go of their beliefs, being like, hey, those belief systems they're tired, they're old. Let me actually get new info. Let me relook at myself and go, are those emotional kind of fantasies and things that make me feel good in money, relationships? Are those the things that actually align with who I am now? So we're not stuck in an idealization of everything, and we're actually getting back to some truth in ourselves. And I think we're going to launch, and that goes with what you've been feeling, Scott, about like launching into June much more, dynamic. Because honestly, it's pretty boring when you're stuck in an old belief system.
True, of course.
I think what's dynamic is that we are now hopefully looking at ourselves as a source of truth, not the outer world. And I think that comes from the fact that Jupiter's been in Cancer and expanding our emotional, intelligence. We've been growing up past our problems. A lot of things facing Saturn in Pisces and Neptune in Pisces was we faced all these shadows that we had, and all these boogeymen that we're afraid of. And so we've emotionally matured. And I think a lot of times when we think we have a mental problem, we actually have an emotional problem. We have inability to emotionally nurture ourselves, and our mind starts to fix something it just can't fix. So I feel like we're at a point now where truth comes from what my heart feels is true. I don't give a F what this thinks or that thinks or this person thinks. I think we're finally graduating from that there's no source of truth other than ourselves. And that because we're emotionally mature now and there's no boogeyman inside, we're starting to feel like we may be right. That's what I'm seeing.
Yeah. And I think that really correlates to people understand the different dimensions of self. Because, we've been talking the past few weeks about the belief structures. And I would say I change beliefs like underwear because they're not going to be the dictation of what I'm growing on the soul level. They're just, I would say, specs of where I'm at currently. But, I think that we're starting to recognize that there's a soul underneath the core of our consciousness, and we're filtered through the beliefs and filtered through the physical mind. And we need to dictate what we're filtering our life to be. And I always tell people your intuition should be the most dominant sense. And then you let your brain, your cognitive mind say, this is how I'm going to express it and encode it in physical reality. So people are starting to recognize that now. There's different versions of self. I'm hearing this, but I'm hearing that. I'm feeling this. I'm picking up on this, and understand the layers of intuition, of psychic ability, channeling abilities, right? And so many people are seeing apparitions and spirits that they've never had the ability to do so. They're starting to see more of that now because as we raise frequency, and I've said it to you before, Christopher, many months ago, that as we raise consciousness, so is AI. So you better make sure that you're going to raise your consciousness too and explore the intelligence within your own soul consciousness, so AI could do the job of what the mundane was that we've been participating in for so long, So and I think people are starting to understand that now, And I was talking on my live show last week, and I was saying there's people who are baristas, people who are doing the mundane jobs. They're so bright, so smart. And even though AI takes that away, it doesn't mean those jobs are meaningless. It means we're encouraged to look more into the soul level, more of what can integrate with people better. Right. And so someone's just pushing us. And I don't want people to say, oh, he's judging those jobs. No, they're valuable, but our value is also increasing, of what we can participate in. And I feel like June brings that energy for a lot of us.
And I think, tag teaming up both of you, like I love what you said right there, because people have to up their value too, right? But then I think with what Chris is saying, like it's an emotional issue. And like what's interesting about Aldebaran, the star that sits at 10 Gemini, but in all of our charts, it's at 9. Which is kind of crazy because 72 years for every fixed star to move. But it's interesting because the whole story goes really with Dante and this understanding of like Archangel Michael and all these angels and these spherical energies sit up there in the heavens, which is where Taurus comes into Gemini. Where this full moon is at, it is that, I know it could be used as Lucifer, but really if you look at the old paintings of it, it's like this really like dark kind of like, whether you want to use it as a dragon or kind of like a water, kind of like, you know, like this just like darkness. And what it is our belief systems and the emotions around it. Because the problem with Jupiter in Cancer, even though it's exalted, is this full moon is in Sagittarius. So that is the ultimate dispositor, because that's where Jupiter's home is in Sag. And so the moon, it looks at Cancer and goes, oh, that's where my home is. And so it amplifies this to a plus 20 point full moon just in the essential dignities for those two planets, 20 points. And so the sun, where we need to be focused on in Gemini, with Mercury in Gemini, gets a plus 10 with Mercury there. And it's like we're having to fight for truth in ourselves. But if we get all lost in our emotions and the expectations, because expectations actually come through the belief. I believe I need this, and then everybody needs to show up this way. And that's a belief. Instead of like in the moment being like, oh, the circumstances have changed this second. Let me be open to that. Let me change with the moment here. And there's a rigidity with Venus square Saturn here, especially this is us getting used to Saturn in Aries with Neptune in Aries. And Venus now going to be squared there. And these are cardinal energies. So it's like, well, I want to start from this emotional place and I want me to also be this. So that this is proving where are your emotions actually taking you away from your real self. And then those beliefs that really have been crusted for so long over that we have to clear them out. And I hate to say it because it's going to bring up religious beliefs with all the new info that's going to start dumping on us even more. We've had so much info. We're not even close to all the info that's going to be getting dumped more and more and more and more. And I think that people are going to have to stay out of this rigid emotional safety net in the false version of themselves and can't do truth. And they have to look at Dante and realize that it's the 7 sins that they go after to get out of purgatory, to get out of inferno, to get to paradiso. And they have no idea that those 7 sins connect to their belief system.
Right. Exactly. But the thing is too, like, you know, people, we've said this a couple months ago about the crutches. Like, now's the time those ideologies are be broken down with religion, right? With politics, your political sport, like that's being completely shredded right now for a lot of people. And a lot of people have identified with a lot of those things, right? But then we have to take this stance to understand, if I had been a privy to these cults or these religious ideologies that we're suppressing, that's your own duality. You know, that's your own polarity. So why were you in those limited, facets and those limited expressions? Because you probably once were in your karmic past, experiences. And so we have to understand that duality of self is why we participate in such things. Even if we come on the other end of that, it's both us, all us, So I think a lot of people need to be more in tune to themselves, which they'll be more in tune to other people. Unlike Stephen Davis, 9499, who thinks some of us are imposters who don't know us. So obviously he's not in tune to himself or in tune to other people. And this is part of the process of our evolution, is being more in tune, because I've seen people just seeing things like so far off from reality, in a sense. And so, there's going to be a lot of dichotomy in that. And so this is time for that we start being more clear about that.
I think we've been clear. I think we've always felt that they were full of shit, and they told us that we weren't. We were full of shit. I think the problem was we let society talk us out of our feelings. We let society talk us out of what we felt was true. We listened to the guy at the Bible. We listened to this guy. Oh, we would be killed if we didn't listen to them, by the way. And so over time, we've developed this division in ourselves where we doubted ourselves to appease the outer world. And I think what's coming out of that is this Gemini transit is like, finally, we're out of the constraints of our own mind that's been constantly worrying us, telling us to shut up or sit down because we're worried about our truth not being the truth they wanted to hear. And I think finally we're at a point where this is a liberation point. This is where we go, no, I feel it's going to be this way, and I feel I disagree. And that's it. That's how I feel. You're not going to change the way I feel about it. I think we're going to start to own what we feel, because what we feel is our entire field. It's not just one little fraction or one little moment inside of us. We have the capacity to filter our entire history, I think, as you well do, Scott and David. Like when we do readings, we feel into the client's history. I think what's happening here is the mind has finally been put in its place. Step 5. It's the 5th thing that happens in consciousness, not the first.
Yeah. Well, we're in I call it the light bearer era. We're shining a light on the truth, and the truth is ugly for a lot of people, and a lot of people will be misled into thinking what is true is really false, and what is false is really true. So there's going to be a lot of that confusion right now, and I see it with a lot of people. So I agree. But speaking of what's misleading,
I just wanted to just say that my last thing is that, and it kind of went with that one person who said that, is the only place delusion lives is in beliefs.
True. So we're talking about,
so people think it's like a mental thing that's on the more Gemini, like mental kind of. No. It's a Sag thing. Delusion is a Sagittarius problem, including Zeus, who's Jupiter, who had the delusion of, I'm not going to be like my father, but I'm going to go rape all the women and turn into all these figures and get a, Jupiter is not the planet of astrology. It is the enemy of astrology.
I think we got confused with belief in fact too. Like a belief is just a theory you intend to live. That's all belief is. It's people have beliefs there can be contrary beliefs on the earth, and they're both right. Because a belief is what you care. It's the idea you tend to shoot the arrow towards, but in another life you may shoot towards another direction. I feel like a belief is really something we follow because we want to, not because it's the absolute.
Sure.
That's where religion came in and screwed it all up. They said, no, my belief, it's absolute. Yours not.
Chris, do you think that the arrow actually hits the target?
No. I mean, I think that's part of the co-creation. You shoot out there and like, I'll be damned. And even scientists, they have these theorems. It's really, we shouldn't use the word belief. We should use the word theory. That's really what it is.
It is a theory, because that also fucks people's perceptions up too. They would just perceive and encode data in that perception. And this Stephen Davis person clearly doesn't trust anything or anybody and doesn't do research, because, if you can form an opinion or a perception of someone without experience, you're an idiot. Wisdom is actually being open-minded to understanding, like, okay, let me explore, let me research. Those who are skeptical about psychic ability, they're idiotic because they're actually demeaning their own abilities. Right. And they're shortchanging themselves of what's available to them, right? Because I just don't believe. And so I think, again, we're going to see a lot of that more of that dichotomy now, in this time. And so I think we do have to call it out. We have to call it the nonsense, as I've been saying for a while too. So, but speaking of misleading our consciousness, let's get to the headlines. First headline we have is Trump orders a major drawdown of weapons in Europe. The Pentagon is reducing the pool of American military capabilities available to NATO, including strategic bombers and fighter jets stationed across Europe. The move reflects Washington's push for European allies to take greater responsibility for their own defense. I know, David, you had an opinion about this, right?
I am not surprised
right.
That this is an interesting moment, because even though I'm personally I'm removing my own personal stuff. Like, I don't believe in the Iran war, right? Like, okay. But the interesting thing from a strategic thing is, like, this is what Trump's been saying forever, right? Like, you guys don't pay enough. Then they kind of acted like they're going to pay. But the interesting part is Russia in the last 2 days has said, all you guys need to get out of Ukraine because we're taking it over now. We're not going to play. We're going to use our ballistic missiles, the big dogs now. Right. So it's the interesting, weird thing is, like, Russia has just said, Germany, America, and UK, get out of there, because we're going to just destroy it now. We're done with it. Okay. Now you get Trump go, oh, we're moving all of your tanks, all of the planes, all of these things out of Germany, out of all these NATO countries. So you guys don't have our protection anymore. But the question is Trump just moving them over to Ukraine? Because now it's Zelensky in the last hour saying, we need all this help, Trump, to fight Russia. But this looks like it's about to go really bad. I think people think they believe everything's just going to go normal. Like, the facts on the ground are saying, no. They've been pushing this thing and trying to make things happen to look a different way.
Yep. Christopher?
I feel like we've never had the truth on Ukraine. I honestly feel that when Ukraine fell, the black markets moved in. And I think that's where we've been selling opium and children and all sorts of things in Ukraine, because it was any kind of country that collapses, that's what happens. Black market moves in. And I think what we're really talking about here is no one really owns the black market there, not Russia, not Ukraine, and not the United States. And what you're seeing here is a chess game, amongst big leaders. And they're all going to say, well, who's going to stomp on it first? If Trump ends up saying, well, we'll have to move our planes in there, that's a pretty smart chess move, really, because now we are in Ukraine. But at the end of the day, I feel like this is a black market issue that's never been talked about. You know, that there's a lot of stuff going on the ground. Otherwise, why wouldn't Putin taken over all the cities by now? He's not that. They're not that dumb as a nation. They're not that backwards. They fought 2 wars with us. If we would have lost without them, they're not idiots. As they should have taken over the country. Why haven't they?
They've never been invaded either. Right? That's the only country on earth that's never been invaded and somebody took it over fully.
Ukraine?
No, the USSR, Russia, whatever you want to use.
Well, I mean, Hitler got all the way up to almost to war. So I mean, if it wasn't for winter,
close.
Thank
Napoleon got farther,
and Hitler not sending coats.
Yeah,
that was not smart. Well, he was arrogantly thinking he would make it, in that grain fall through the fall. Yeah, no, it's interesting. Yeah, no, I feel like I think we don't know the truth of Ukraine. I think there's a smoking gun, something going on underneath there. Yep. And I really feel like it has to do with the dark market, which is really the deep state. Honestly, the black market is the deep state. It's not even a state. It's a world.
Yeah, exactly.
There's an underground world of underground crime and underground crime bosses. We've been watching James Bond films for our whole lives, being told about Dr. Evil, and I think at the end of the day, this is really I think the reason why it's so smoky and weird is because of that. But I agree. I would say as far as the reason why we're taking care of Europe is all just for control. America wanted control. I mean, we spread ourselves too thin for that reason. And we made a deal that, we would take care of, we guard the oil that's underneath our currency, blah, blah, blah. But it was just a way of getting our bases on every country. It was pretty smart, but it costs too much now and it's stupid. And we don't want to control the countries anyways, so it's like, that's what I think we're backing out of is our Cold War position.
But I also feel like there's a fragmentation within the deep state to where I feel like there is this kind of fight and control for world domination, understanding the one world government. I think there's those fighting to be the head of this, within that deep state. So it feels very fragmented to me. So I feel like they're kind of fighting for world dominance in that sense. And so probably. I mean, that's why I think these moves, especially with the current administration, is very kind of, what? I think, a lot of this is strategic too, to draw confusion and we were talking about even with the markets, to fuck with the markets as well, about whether he pull in and pull out of the war. And so I think a lot of this is way more depth than people think about when it comes to control and market manipulation and all that stuff too. So, but in this specific, case, I just feel like it's a fight for world dominance and that one world government. I think they've all been trying to, to establish,
I want to say that I think that this is kind of a scary moment for Europe in a real sense because America's pulling it out. I think it's because, like Chris said, we want control. We know we can't control what Russia's about to do. China and Russia just made a deeper pact right after Trump left when he was in China a week and a half ago, right? So now China and Russia are even more in lockstep together. And this is an interesting moment because Europe right now is in fragments all over the place. They don't know what they're doing. They don't show up. They're not helping with the whole Strait of Hormuz. They talked about it. They're talkers, but they're not walkers. So that's where this is getting really scary because honestly, that means that we know we're not going to get trapped in this mess. We're pulling all of our shit out. We don't even need to control anything because we don't even know if you guys are going to stay countries. The EU itself, I think, is the problem here too. And NATO is actually what was built to protect after World War II to make sure that we have all allies come together in Article 5. Well, because like all these deep state people are in Europe, right? Like Germany, especially in France. And now you have countries that were always neutral, right? You have Finland now that we're not neutral. We're part of this. It's like, wait, you have these neutral countries now, all war fighters in the last 3 years. And then to go to Chris's whole dark thing, all the cocaine, the most cocaine has now been the last 3 years through Ukraine. But America got fentanyl at the border that killed everybody. And now you're seeing those numbers go down. But in Ukraine, it's all the men have died. That's where the most, sex OnlyFans webcam girls are all out of Ukraine. Okay. That whole industry is based out of that place. Okay. The cocaine trades there. All of the people that were in government for Zelensky, all have been caught for bribery, extortion, taking all of our money and all money. Cocaine is always involved with it. Zelensky did a live stream on Coke 3 years ago. If y'all don't remember that.
I remember.
And he's the one who's taken power of that country without an election for years. He was supposed to be out 2.5 to 3 years ago.
Sounds familiar.
So that's where I feel like shit's about to hit the fucking fan. And America's like, yeah, we're done.
Yeah. Yep.
I think people underestimated how safe they felt with us. I mean, I think that, Europe's always been kind of shitty to us in my experience. Like, just watching in my life, it's like kind of looking down at us. And it's like, but we're guarding everything.
I know.
And like, why are we the assholes? I don't know.
So as they're complaining on their American designed Apple and PC, and they're on their iPhone and their Samsung, it's all American. You're all Americanized, even though we might get it made in China. It doesn't matter. All the ideas, all the patents, it's all there. And now that's what's going to happen, right? Is like the EU is like right now making deals with China to try and save their butt. So they're going to have like China phones and China TVs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what's been going on the last year after the whole trade war and the tariffs.
Wow, right? Well, that makes better sense, anyways, because we've been buying their shit since the 70s.
Europe is going to do every Uranus and Gemini, where it becomes not a safe place to be, and everybody's been projecting that on America, but that's not going to be. It's not going to be the same.
Well, they had a huge infestation. I mean, they had there was a destabilization with all that immigration that went up north through Europe too. I mean, it destabilizes. You can't just have that many people move at the same time. Forget the rights of where to live and that type of thing. I'm all for people being able to live where they want to live, but you have to do it in proper timings. Because when I talk to people from Europe, that's what they're saying. It's just everything since the overrun of migration. Let's put it that way. All the countries has been a problem there. They have a hard time. Like anywhere, it destabilizes things. I'm not trying to get into an immigration border thing, but it's just like you can't have a bunch of people moving into town that don't speak the language and don't know how to contribute. Suddenly you have a problem in your hand. In the sense of being able to take care of everybody.
Yeah. Well, next we have ongoing Massey. Val's full Epstein transparency on House floor, which is called. Representative Thomas Massey has pledged to use his remaining time in Congress to publicly read the names of powerful individuals redacted from the Epstein files. He says he will use his constitutional speech and debate immunity to name more figures before his term ends in January 2027. I mean, hello, why aren't more people doing this? I mean, we've had some of that in Europe, but I mean, still nothing going on in America. So I think this is a good step in the right direction. I'm curious to see the opposition he will get, following suit of this.
Or if he dies.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I mean. The consequences of that.
We haven't even got to talk about that he just lost, right? Because it was right. It was right after our show last week. What do you feel, Chris, about the whole thing? And then I can give my opinion after.
Well, I think that his name's not on the list, so he has the right to. At the end of the day, I think everyone else's name's on the list. I think at the end of the day, everyone is in trouble there, and he's one of the free ones. I don't know if it was me, I'd be that way. I mean, if I saw injustice and I didn't have a dirty conscience, I would stand up.
Well, I mean, what do you think? Because he just MAGA just went against an old MAGA. He is the most what MAGA stood for, exposing the deep state, exposing this and transparency with Epstein files, and then Trump, the most highest donations in elections ever for a House seat, just happened against two Republicans to get him out. Right, he's out now. I can't believe that they put in this dude who never debated. Right, so it actually makes me go, one, there's either election fraud, or two, people are in the trance of the false MAGA. Right, there is no MAGA. It's dead.
It's dead.
Right.
It's not true. It doesn't exist.
It never existed. It was
right. So that's the other interesting part of this whole thing is it is now a takeover now of this thing that nobody wants except the people who are in a trance, which it's kind of funny. A lot of the data is showing it's it's the baby boomers.
Yeah,
of course.
Well, it's like, oh, let's just do the George Bush and the George Senior Bush all over again.
Yep.
And join that team.
Right.
That's what Trump's become.
How many of you guys feel a racial war about to kick out, in 7-Eleven? Because I don't see it. The press is always trying to tell us that something like this, MAGA, a big threat, Black Lives Matter, but, it's going to have problems. It's honestly, we're told these things, but it's not happening. It's not true in our hearts. I think with MAGA, you've always had your militia groups going back to time. That's because boys like guns and they want to keep playing with them. They go in the woods, and they seriously, they just love guns. And
those are psyops to me. That's the way to keep people fragmented, is to prey on empathy, prey on social issues that really have no significance to the development of our country, so to speak. So that's the way to keep us divided. I think those are the psyops. So, MAGA was a huge, I would say, essence of that, especially with the lunatic left too. We hear about that. All the extremes has been the way to divide and conquer. So, I mean, I feel like that was, I think people are starting to see more of things from a moderate point of view, a centrist point of view. As I've always been that way. I've saw good in both, but I just think that's the psyop.
Well, that's what's an interesting psyop is all the most MAGA people are being kicked out. So like Marjorie Taylor Greene left, right? Like, okay, so then Thomas Massey, then they dropped the text messages of Thomas Massey with Lowen Boebert, who's another major MAGA that they've been fucking, right? And that he's got to use his pills to get hard to try and like they do that to try and make these people down in what was it, Kentucky, right? Like go like, oh well, he can't get it up. Like I know people may not be following how all this is going down, but like the most MAGA people are all getting kicked out through this false MAGA like agenda now, which is really the biggest psyop I've ever seen. I'm just like, and then the media right now doesn't even push back. They kind of go, oh well, yeah, like this isn't that bad. Like what's going on? It's a kind of like that's what they want. The media wants the most MAGA people out.
Yes, they want to bring the power of that. And here's the thing: the media wants the "Make America Great Again," which is not a bad sentence. I mean, we have been great. Why is it bad for us to be great? It's really kind of anti. I mean, it's a paradox there. We're saying don't have this, but actually we're saying don't have America being great.
The only bill that all of us agree on, that everybody in Congress except one person voted on, was the Epstein Bill Act, right? Okay,
that's right.
That's one thing we all agree on. And the guy who gets with the Democrat to do it is Thomas Massey. And then Trump and the whole MAGA wannabe team now all go against it. And then everybody in Kentucky is like, I guess I'll vote for this. Right? Like, or it's weird because 100,000 people voted, and we're talking like Kentucky only has like 300,000 people. So that's where it gets a little weird.
Well, the only way to secure this administration is to create that fanaticism. Because I believe this administration got in to get a hold of the Epstein files so they can control and dictate what happens or not happens with it. That's what I believe about this administration. That could be my conspiracy theory. So in order to do that, is to create some sort of fragmented, fanaticism, so people really are loyal. Because not many people, if you think about it, when it comes to politics, are so loyal like a sport. So they created one. And so then people are loyal, and then they can rile up those people and create those fragmented beliefs. And, I think that's the whole point here. So those who were initially MAGA believed in the conservatism movement and then just went too far, and it does feel like a George Bush era, repeat in a sense. But speaking of MAGA, fragmenting, Tulsi Gabbard's surprise resignation shakes intelligence community. Tulsi Gabbard submitted her resignation as director of national intelligence, citing her husband's serious health diagnosis as the primary reason. Right. The move comes amid ongoing sensitive national security challenges, including the Iran situation. I mean, there's been a lot of things. I mean, especially when, Tulsi stated that there was no nuclear threat in Iran. Right. So then here we go with all this, war with Iran. So I think it's, MAGA is kind of attacking itself to a certain degree because it really wasn't really clearly defined to begin with. But this is very interesting. Christopher, what is your take on that with her resignation?
I think it's timely. I think we're going to find a lot of people. Actually, I mean, don't you guys? I feel like this is it. I think you're seeing people hopping up the ship like when the rats leave the ship, it's going down. I feel like you're seeing. I actually feel like any second now there's going to be some sort of intellectual, mind blown emoji happening. And I've been talking about it for months. It's like I feel like this is something that's going to shock the world, and people are leaving while they can. I'm not surprised. I feel we're going to be, I think, in chaos for a while. I mean, honestly, I just put it out there. I think, and this goes back to the original points you both made. Your mind's not going to make sense of any of it. You're going to have to feel you're okay. You're going to have to connect to your intuition. You have to use the other senses that we have besides just the thoughts, because there's been so many lies and so many things. We said, I think, sit back and just let everyone say what they want to say. And then I think the truth is going to somehow come out. But I think the last truth is coming out. So,
well, I think it's interesting because, of course, all of the documents that were in her office about the CIA MK Ultra that were supposedly all gone.
Right.
She had in her office like 2 weeks ago and was seized. And then she also had a bunch of JFK files that still hadn't been released, the real ones that we need to see. Then on top of that, the MAGA movement was in 2024 about RFK. Like I always say, I voted for RFK Jr. Like that's who I voted for, right? Like that's who I wanted to be president. He's the head of HHS. I have kids now. The whole crazy COVID stuff. I was like that, and then Tulsi Gabbard, great. She's a middle of the road person. She can go in there. She's a war veteran, and she's going to be in charge of intelligence. So she doesn't want to go into a foreign war and all that. Great. So it's like the only holdout that's the old MAGA that we all, the whole country voted for, because you got to look at it's the most dynamic, voting of all time, of all the races, genders, age groups, right? So we all wanted this awesome coalition. It didn't happen. Like Trump has completely stomped it out, and now it's just RFK Jr. left. If you really think about it, like it's like there is no more. Now that Thomas Massey's out, now that people are, I don't think they're leaving. I think they're seeing like, I don't want to be the next Charlie Kirk.
Right. Well, sure.
That's the deeper kind of thing here is like, they are pushing people out. Like Thomas Massey, like we will outspend you and we'll put another Republican against you and we'll put who we want in there and they don't even have to debate or anything. Or if you're Charlie Kirk and you start talking about Israel too much, you're out.
Yeah, I mean, it's very telling who's being installed, but who also has left because of the push for the Epstein files. I mean, isn't that kind of obvious in itself? I mean, Stevie Wonder could see that, the reason why people are kind of leaving and exiting, and who's being installed. And so, I mean, didn't like Donald Trump Jr., didn't he like marry Epstein's banker's daughter? You know what I'm saying? It's like George Carlin said, it's one big club. We're all, not invited to it. So again, to me, this is just all a cover up for a lot of what's in the Epstein files to me, a lot of this manipulation, a lot of this circulation, a lot of these, relationships that are being destroyed. And again, it's that deep state that's attacking itself right now globally. So that's what this represents to me. And it's again, the timing, right? It's the timing, dude. All this is set to be released for public release and then she resigns. I mean, it's becoming stupid at this point. I mean, how can you not see, right? But
let's not assume anything. I mean, maybe there's just one thing there's misleading. I think sometimes the truth is, I just mean sometimes there's evidence that it smells like a fish, tastes like a fish, but it ain't fish. It's like it's just sometimes, and I would resign if everyone's going to interpret it wrong. I'd have to. I don't know. I mean, honestly, I'm at a point. It's like I don't think we know.
Oh, I'm glad it's not me for a change.
Right. Yeah. I think, yeah, but I think you're right, Scott, too. Like, it's just, it's so in our face. You could see it now.
I said it last week. It's like, I'm trying to intellectualize this. I just can't. It's like, oh, it's full of shit, so, but
it's all be, and then that's where I'm like, this is, especially that her files got seized. I mean, like, and nobody's looking at the CIA director, John Radcliffe, to be like, hey, bro. But people don't realize, like, there's a show, like the UK and MI5, they have like what's called slow horses, which is like, okay, you got in trouble, but like you guys go do stuff so we don't get the upper half. Like that means we have a CIA that's where deep state stuff really happens, right?
CIA's compromised.
Like they break off and go, you guys are off the books, but you guys get paid through this, and we make it look like this, and so then they send in those people, to go walk into the DNI, who people forget. Some people don't understand government. The DNI talks to the Five Eyes around the world. They get all the intelligence from the military, from NSA, CIA, FBI. They are the one that report to the president that has everything. They're the one who knows more than anybody in the world. Okay.
Yeah.
And she's resigning.
Right.
And she was all about, I will protect the American people no matter what. Obviously, it's not that it's her choice. She's being threatened or pushed out in a way that we don't even know. That's gnarly.
I totally agree. I totally agree when you said that they're afraid of having another Kirk, being another Charlie Kirk. I totally agree with that. So I will resign, So the last topic, actually, before we get into the topic, the last headline is deadly chemical release at Washington packaging plant. All three workers lost their lives when a high-pressure chemical tank burst, at a packaging facility in Washington. Rescue and hazmat operations continue as investigators try to determine the cause of the deadly accident. I mean, I don't know if we should call it an accident, but because we just had by you that nuclear spillage.
Yeah, the Garden Grove,
right? Which is interesting because on my live show for 2026 predictions back in 2025, which I've been feeling for a while, there's going to be some nuclear spillage in Southern California. That might be it, but I feel like there's something else with nuclear affecting the air in Southern California that's to come. So these are kind of like another, like, warning shots. I think a lot of times they do warning shots before a major event comes. I feel like that these are them before that.
Yeah, because like the chemical at the Garden Grove plant is one that's used like in, they say, for the new F-35s, but like it's stuff that was the stuff in nail salons in like the 70s that would make you in the 90s you go, oh my god, I gotta get out of here, right? But like times it by 10, right? So like that shit's bad, but they only allow it for use with government approval, right? Well, it's not even approval, like the government just does whatever it wants, but no, unless you've got a government contract, can use this stuff. The tank is old. But now it's coming out that it looks like that there was like sabotage intentionally. I think what's going on, even in this Washington situation, is World War III has been happening. All these events, right? Like keep being like, whether it's like the paper factory or Amazon places where they see the guy and then it all burns down. It's like we are being attacked, and they just put it as accident. Like this just randomly happened. Like that's the whole thing. When you go back to the Ukraine thing we were talking about, like we are in a world war, and now what they say is an accident is actually an attack, and then they don't want to freak people out. They don't want to, like,
I agree.
They want people to just keep going to your job while it lasts before the AI takes it over, and keep the market just
100%. But that's what we have to now start thinking about. We think war, we think just troops fighting and bombing. No, they're doing war in different ways. Even cognitive war in the minds of people is still war. And I agree with these like convenient attacks. I agree, because I'm like, with that plant with in Orange Grove, how did it not prevent that with the maintenance? They knew it was getting too hot. They knew all these things were about to occur. How did they not prevent that if it was an accident?
They really had no idea what to do, and they got lucky that it cracked and let off enough pressure to where then they're like, okay, now it's going to be out. We'll figure it out. But they've been dumping it into the fucking streets, and then that goes into the sewer, that goes into the ocean.
Exactly.
And now that stuff will go up into the atmosphere, and a year from now, it'll be rained down on people.
I'm telling you, these are, to me, warning shots. They're not accidents.
Right. So they don't talk about that because it's like the immediate threat is like over, but people don't look at the long-term shit.
I agree.
What's crazier? So like Garden Grove, like Sublime, right? Bradley took his life exactly 30 years ago during this whole thing this last 5 days.
Interesting.
And his song, like, we took this trip to Garden Grove, and it smelled like a root dog inside the van. But it's like everybody changed it to like the famous surf shop here in Newport Beach that smelled like the chemicals from the plant, and you know.
Right.
And it's trippy because the first thing I thought when that was happening was Sublime Garden Grove, that song, like,
interesting.
And it was 30 years to the exact moment that Bradley shot himself. He killed himself.
Wow.
I was like, dude, this is where that, it kind of gets Simpsons, or it kind of gets,
predictive programming. Yeah. Well, like, remember I told you about the Illuminati card deck, right? So I think people who connected with like the Illuminati, whatever you want to call them, they know these events about to occur. You know what I'm saying? Because those cards, man, they predict the Trump age. They could predict the Black Lives Matter age. They predicted everything. They're made in the 80s.
So I know, I don't know where Chris is, but you and I talked about this story. So then there was a shooting at the White House.
Yeah.
Right. This weekend, 30 shots.
Right.
And I told you, and I wanted to see, I think we both are on the same page. Those media anchors that are sitting supposedly in front of the White House lawn, that is green screen. I have looked at all of them. That is not. I'm sorry. Agree. And the way that they're all just kind of like, what is that? And they all do the same thing. I'm like,
I agree.
What is going on?
Dude, it's to me, again, feels very, again, this is the second shooting, right? We had one at the banquet.
I know.
Right? Conveniently, now we need the ballroom. Now we need security at the ballroom. And what's underneath the ballroom? The bunkers on the ballroom, right? And so security because of the ballroom. And so then we have another shooting. So I'm with you on that. I'm not buying it.
Yeah. And it's like we're back to the Biden green screen media, news, White House stuff, which that's what trips me out, is when they just blatantly do this really bad green screen. Like, we have better green screens than the media right now.
Dude, your program that you're living right now is a better green screen.
If people knew, I don't even use a green screen. I use AI, and like it's just my background of just like boring crap.
Well, we got to go to a commercial real quick and see if Crystal comes back, but we'll just take a couple minutes here before we get to the topic and go backstage.
can feel it in the static, in the signals, in the fractures no one else wants to see. I thought I was chasing a secret, a hidden code, a machine buried beneath the noise. But the deeper I went, the more reality began to tear. The city opened, the mask came off, and beyond the chaos, there was another world, ancient, radiant, waiting, and in its light, a woman, Lady Avalon, not a dream, not a ghost, a guide, a warning, a key. Spirit Dial was never just technology, it was a doorway, a threshold between what is ending and what comes next. Now the old world is collapsing in plain sight, the new one is already calling, and once you cross that line, once you see what waits on the other side, you do not return the same.
I see it. The gate is open. No. Tell them I'm not coming back. I'm finishing this right now.
The signal has changed, the future is opening, and this is only the beginning.
It's the Spirit Dial. It bridges the fracture.
How long has it been here?
Waiting for you to answer. Waiting for you to answer.
Get your mind blown. Lady Avalon, only on spiritdial.ai. The signal has changed, the future is opening, and this is only the beginning.
I think we're all on a mission here in our in this waking life of Earth reality. It's quite a big task.
Like this show's fun to me. You know, it's fun for me. It's like I'm doing it only because I love the conversation with you. I love having the ability to express point of view and having conversation. So that's why I'm passionate about this.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the music. When you speak about a world event or something that no one's considered, what do each of you think about instead of a fake moon landing, a fake alien invasion happening? That seems to be a real potential.
I just think there's a lot of massive structures that are being broken down, and people are realizing it now too, and we're rebuilding. So that's how I see it. It's just not my passion.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know. And we try to get you through it week after week.
You gotta give the props to all those old organ ladies that played that organ music that was it felt you through your body, you know?
And at some point, something's going to come out. I just feel intuitively there's going to be something revealed that just shows undeniably how this is all BS. You know, you should teeter-totter, as far as stop, go. I notice you'll be at the red light and I'll be going, kind of thing, which is hard. That's why we keep crashing into each other. Whatever you think again for the next 7 years. That's it. These guys, I can't take them anywhere in public anymore. All right.
100 episodes, bro. How you feeling with it? It's funny to see me. I think I was on episode 31.
Yeah, I mean, well, we have to say that obviously Morgan, cut those clips on short notice. Otherwise, it'd be a lot better. But yeah, man, you were supposed to be the original.
Yeah, I was on the original thing, but
you had kids.
Yeah, I was having kids, and
you're pumping out babies at that time. So I mean, get it. Yeah, no, it's been fun. I mean, many people don't understand. I've been working my work for 14 years. So the show is when I first started to kind of do the social media thing, and so I think I had more fun kind of getting used to that and used to people and watching and stuff. So that's been cool. And Chris, you've been working with Christopher for a long time too. So it's an interesting ride.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very impressed that you guys have done 100 episodes. That's always such a huge accomplishment, and it's definitely not something that I think people realize. It's not just some easy thing to do, to show up every week, do a show, and continue.
How long have you been doing your High Vibe Network? It's been what, 15 years?
I've been doing it. A daily horoscope every day for 14, but
yeah, I mean,
then I was with Chris doing the shows for years. So I don't know. I'm on like 17 years.
I admire that. Like 2.5 for me, right? And just, I've been busy outside of social media, but I'm like, I want to extend it. And so, I mean, you guys, I admire you guys because you're very, consistent with it, and you tolerate more than I care to tolerate with it too. So, but it's it's been an interesting ride, and so it's good to have you here on with us.
Oh yeah, the joke. Remember when I came on was like, "Thanks for keeping the seats warm."
Yeah,
for me to just show up right when we're ready to get going here after like 85 episodes or something. Thanks,
right?
I appreciate it. But so, no, I really mean it though. Like honestly, it was great to come in and you guys figured out the secret sauce.
Yeah, I think for most part, it's just like Christopher and I, and you and Christopher and Kirsten, you and I just have a similar synergy. And I think it was just fun, just fucking around with that. I think people come on here, they think we're just being so serious. Like, no, we're just shooting the shit. And we just kind of want to get our thoughts out, and that's what the show is designed for, just to kind of shoot the shit and kind of like have spiritual talk and talk beyond what people are talking about, and be loose about it and be down to earth about it. So that's what the intention is, basically. So we got to get the new opening with you in it when I have time.
Yeah, I know. It's been, I mean, we've all like tried, but it takes time for these things. I think people, it's a lot.
I mean, for an Aqua to have to like put myself on display, it's like,
they're asking us to do one more headline. I
would
think,
pick one. You pick.
I mean, honestly, I think maybe kind of spiritually, like it's interesting reading the comments. I think it's not a headline, but just, what have you noticed on this show? Like, because what I'm noticing doing it, now I don't even know how many episodes, but like a lot of people are feeling a lot of the same energy we're speaking on here.
Yeah.
And I think that's growing exponentially.
Oh, yeah. I agree. Yeah.
What have you noticed?
I just think people, I said this about a couple of months ago about like conspiracy theories, like a lot more people, like say with Jim Carrey being cloned, like, I don't feel that, but I like the fact that people are like looking beyond shit and being like, I don't believe what I'm being told. I don't believe what I'm seeing. And like, that's a good thing. And so, people may not get it right, but I think the fact that people are seeing things beyond what they're being told, what they're being spoon fed, because that was something I've been preaching for 15 years in my own work about looking beyond and looking, not what you're being told, and the media and the infiltration with, they're using MK Ultra and different tactics now with our society and social media and stuff. So having people be more discerning, I feel like that's been more prevalent now with people, and wanting to hear like what they're seeing isn't true to a certain degree. And also I think there's a lot of people that are excited for these paradigms to be breaking down and systems to be broken down. Like I've been predicting a lot of this, back in 2013 about the divide before it happened, and the paradigm, the fall of celebrity culture, right? And people, finding different value systems and psychic ability being confirmed by 2030. Like, so we're in a wonderful timeline. And I think that as much as a lot of people are focused on Armageddon, I'm like, yeah, it's a death of a system, but we're giving birth to a new system. And so that's the exciting part to me. And I think a lot of people are feeling that too, even if they're in despair. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What I've noticed is like the truther community will speak about such things.
Yeah.
The difference though with a show like with people that are like us, psychics, astrologers, we already had to go through that to become a psychic, to become an astrologer. You gotta go through all the worst like crap. You have to let go of the whole system, the family members, friends, everybody's gonna like think you're crazy.
Right.
Like the most crazy, and then actually stigmatize you. Then you're in the occult world, right? Like that's the thing. And then that's what's so interesting is like we're not changing. Okay, like once you go, there's only like a couple people I've ever known that have ever gone into this work and then like left it, right? Like that's very rare if they're a real dog. But the problem with these truther community people, they're switching their belief systems in their own spiritual sense,
right?
And then that's tweaking how their truth comes out. So it's like when I used to watch Alex Jones, it was like he was not talking Christian, but then like, oh, when the whole Trump movement came in, and now he's not, and then he ended his show as it just ended like weeks ago, just like, and he's drinking a fucking beer, like, Jesus Christ, I did it, and it ends that way. It's like, wait, what? Like that, like, the way it starts is in a DMV back in the 90s, like, and like, no, I'm not gonna do this ID, and him, to did it for Jesus with like a beer, you know, like what?
And
like,
his supplements. I just think a lot of people are just grifting. I mean, you know, in the spiritual community, this is fucking people grifting, dude. And they were just like, oh, that's popular. I'm going that direction. Matt say something, I'm going that direction. Oh, Trump's a piece of shit. I'm in that direction. So
I know.
I just think if people were perceptive from the beginning, because I know, I'm sure with you, with Christopher and I, the things that are happening now, we've been saying for a long fucking time. We didn't sway on it, you know, because the scrutiny of being a psychic, scrutiny of being an astrologer. I mean, I was scrutinized in the Christian religion for being a psychic and being a homo, right? And so now I deal with being a psychic and all that stuff. It's like, yeah, like you said, we've been through that stuff. And so I think that more people who are opening up to their abilities and their awareness and what's going on in the world, I feel like that helps us to lead a better community of people to where we vote differently or just change the system entirely, you know? So we're in that stage. I think we'll talk more about this backstage. We have, I think, half hour.
Yeah, the thing that we're going to say is between me, you, and Chris, what is our own unique, most like fascinating conspiracy that
theory
we all have about things that probably is not normally talked about? Yeah, that's what I find interesting is like what's the craziest real conspiracies? Like, you know, the same ones always pop up.
Yeah,
I'm always like, like I've only found a couple people out there in the world where I'm like, dude, that one is, and then
unique.
I add on top of it, that is okay. That's a fucking rabbit hole.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like the real rabbit holes.
I think a lot of you know, conspiracy theories today are just kind of like the simple, like aliens and all that stuff. It's just very kind of common now, right? It's not so, like you said, not so much a creation of a rabbit hole, although they are true now. We're starting to see the truth of that. But yeah, we'll get more into that backstage.
Yeah, and I would say the other thing too is that conspiracy theories now are just a normal story.
Right? That's what I'm saying. It's normal. What was it? What was the term, Dave? They say, what's the difference between the truth and conspiracy theory? And they say 6 to 8 months, right?
Yeah. I mean, now that's what even the media kind of puts out. We actually didn't even talk about the Ozempic thing. I just saw the article, like it's on Newsweek, everything. It's like they use venom, right, to make Ozempic. And that, it's like they get everybody on it, and then they act like you all people are conspiracy theories that we use venom and stuff like that. Oh no, that's the top article today I saw. It's like, how did it should be impossible to use venom, but it happened, and now millions of Americans use venom in their Ozempic every day. It's like, oh my, I'm just like,
it's like just gaslighting.
Like
that's gaslighting.
Like,
you know what I'm saying?
And all that stuff, even about the COVID stuff, right? Like the venom that's used in remdesivir, to like all of that, right? It's like, hello. And then they try to make you think it's a bat. It's actually venom.
Right. That's, I mean, I with the COVID shot, dude, to me, when that happened, I'm like, I'm not like anti-vax by any means, but I'm anti that vax. I did not take that vaccine.
Right.
And I felt like that there's 50% of those vaccines that are dirty and there's 50% that are clean. So it's kind of like Russian roulette who took it, and especially with the boosters. I'm like that, you know, those are, and especially now I have a lot of clients I've seen who've taken the shot, who've lost their loved ones, who had all the boosters of like heart issues, massive heart issues. And I always found it weird in that time. You remember George Floyd in that time? I can't breathe. I can't breathe things, but yet COVID was a breathing thing. And so, you know, to me, that's conspiracy. I feel like it was planned, the whole breathing essence, almost like a mockery of, you know, breath. And so, yeah, I mean, those things I really feel
even
like,
the mockery that he ingested a ton of fentanyl.
Right.
That's how he died. Right. And then the fentanyl crisis starts right after him.
Right after that. Right. Yeah.
Like, I mean, it was going in 2019, but it was small. Like if you look at the numbers, 21, 22, or like
exploded
23, it's like the amount of people that died from fentanyl overdoses outdoes COVID like 10 to 1. It's crazy.
Yeah, it exploded right after that.
We really had a fentanyl crisis. Everybody's sitting at home doing fentanyl because they couldn't get drugs.
Right.
Even though in the Ukraine, shit.
Well, who do you think is manufacturing, putting the drugs on the street? That to me, the CIA is doing that.
Yeah, but they moved their operation to Ukraine.
Right. Exactly.
Not America. They don't funnel through America, and then, you know, that's what's wild to me. I'm like,
it's crazy. That's crazy. It's crazy. But we're going to talk backstage. So, guys, Morgan, put the screen up. If you guys want to catch a backstage conversation, it's I think $7.99, right? A month to catch up.
$7.99 a month, and you're in a community with us. And we have awesome things that we're putting together right now. We just had our meeting last week about shows that we're doing on that back end that you can be part of. So.
Yeah, and you and Christopher, we're doing like astro gossip type of thing again. Get the whole astro lingo going on, and so yeah, a lot of stuff backstage. So join now and meet us back there now, guys. And Christopher lost his internet. Hopefully, he'll rejoin us.
Yep.
So, and we'll see you all next week
backstage.
Yeah, Morgan, are we backstage yet or no? No, he's just deuces. Yeah, dude. Right. So I'm glad it's not me with the tech issues today.
Well, it's kind of funny because it's the 100th episode, and then it's 2 zeros, and I guess we're the zeros, and Chris is the 1.
So, more you have to give us some input too to add to the 3-0, right? So, as you know, Morgan's our director. He's the one chatting. Move to a headline. He's the one directing us.
Swimming.
There he is.
Hey, what's up? I'm the Leo King, celebrity astrologer David Palmer. And you might be asking yourself, what is a celebrity astrologer? Am I an astrologer, and do I do astrology just for celebrities? Being a celebrity astrologer is about embodying a lot. Not only being an astrologer and of course doing readings for celebrities, but it's about connecting the astrologer aspect to the media, to the world. Embodying the model part of myself or the TV personality that I've been in my life to connect to this 21st century and to connect to this new world with social media and with television.
And Hollywood is tapping into the spirit world through psychics.
Celebrities want to find their power of self.
Untold with Maria Menounos, tonight at 8 on E!
Especially, astrologers have been around for thousands of years on royal courts. They've been doing it for kings and queens. Bringing the astrologer back into society. It's almost like being an astrologer has been axed out and we've been kind of put into our own little weird world. And I think that it's very important to utilize, all the aspects of connecting to what we think of celebrity and pop culture and bringing these ancient science practices and all this wisdom to the mainstream world. And that's why, building a studio like this here at the Leo King Studios and High Vibe Studios has been part of it, to be able to create my own networks, to create my own content.
And a Taurus is going to have their worth and be a little bougie like you, and it will work out. You can't go with a cheap person or somebody who doesn't know their worth. Guys who don't have self-worth is your biggest turnoff.
That is! If you're not a confident man, get to stepping. I can't deal.
And then as time went by, I went on another big reality show called ABC True Beauty, and I went on and I said, you know what, I'm going to tell the world I'm an astrologer. It's time. It's time to really own this, because you have to remember, being an astrologer is a little scary. You have religious people who think you're the devil, and then you have the scientific community who think you're schizophrenic. So there's this element of dealing with this aloneness in many ways, of like having to have the courage to follow what a lot of people think is a belief, kind of like religion, which it's not. Astrology is a bridge between the spiritual and the science energy and bringing them together.
And celebrity astrologer David Palmer, who is also known as Leo King. I like that, Leo King. So David, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me on, Steve.
That was an amazing reading that you gave, man. And what information does someone learn from a reading?
What I'm trying to show people is that it's all divine. There's divine timing in life, there's divine synchronicities, and I help people see that when they were born so they can align and understand their life better, and it's good for helping people with knowing how to go down the right roads and not the wrong roads in life, because we have that choice.
Celebrity astrologer David Palmer, also known as the Leo King, is back with us. So his astrology guide is a hot seller right now on Amazon. We talked earlier about the modern approach to the age-old practice of astrology. So now let's look into the future. So David, what does the future hold for us? You said in our last segment This week's going to be a big one.
This week's huge. We got a Mercury retrograde coming in Pisces, which makes things really confusing. At the same time, the planet Uranus is going to come into Taurus like it did in 1934, which was like the rise of Hitler, the total change in all the agreements with the world and world power shifting. But the big thing's President Trump. He's got a pretty intense situation going on in his life. A lot of people look at it whether it's from the government and the court stuff that's going on or whether or not he's colluded. But the big thing is there's going to be so much confusion in the world. He's going to be having to take on confusing information while being kind of attacked at the same time. So the mental stress is the biggest one. Is he going to mentally be able to handle it?
Astrologist David Palmer, aka the Leo King, who is joining us again here on ET Live.
I know, I'm
Thanks
so glad
for
to be
coming
here.
back. We appreciate having you, especially during Mercury retrograde.
I know. Literally, the elevator on the way up was going up, no, it went down.
You got in the building. You're here on set.
I made it.
You made it. I mean, all right, it's Aries season.
So, well, the reality TV, the first one was 2005. I did a show on MTV called Parental Control. And back then, that was like the first of reality. Real World was the first reality show. And then it was these dating shows that MTV brought out. But they were very extreme and they were all LA, Orange County based because that was where they got all their talent. And so we got reruns all the time. And then I did Next with the Next Bus, where it's like 5 guys or 5 girls in a bus, and then the person who's going to pick the dates can basically have 5 choices and just say next, next. It was a really big show. So MTV had me do both of them back to back. So I was on 2 shows replaying all the time. And that was where I was like, if I combine this with astrology, there's something there.
Are you or someone you love suffering from bad psychic readings like this?
What do you see with my dog?
I see that he barks and barks and shits and shits. He's your grandmother reincarnated.
I need a real psychic!
Or are you exhausted from vague, recycled guidance like this?
Master Fabio, I need guidance around finances.
Do you have a dream, a job, a salary, a rich man?
No, I have none of those things.
Dear child, go into the circle at 1. Spin counterclockwise 33 times, then clockwise 66 times, repeating the chant I am a millionaire. The total should be 333 affirmations.
We are millionaires. We are millionaires. We need better guidance!
And don't even get me started on the Liberace-inspired mentors like this.
Sir Scoticus, why am I not getting the career I want?
You are not wanting enough. Want harder. Then forget about it. That is manifesting.
I need a new mentor!
If you're sick of all the fluff, the bluff, and all the pretentious stuff, and enjoy a good psychic that could spit spontaneous rhymes. Then hi, I'm Scott Cruz, psychic medium and mentor, where I turn the vague into vivid, the fairy tales into truth, and the posturing into proof. Book a reading to get actual detailed insight into your past, your present mess, no judgment, and your future glow up. Receive guidance that doesn't just sound good, but gives you something to do. And yes, connect with your loved ones in spirit as they actually are. Not always reincarnated as your dog.
It's you, Grandma.
Or your cat.
It's all gone.
Or your emotional support goldfish. So visit scottcruzpm.com to book your reading today. Or now. Or tomorrow. Or on payday.
Readings Beyond Rainbows.
Scott Cruz is popularly known for his life-changing one-on-one readings to also guiding your soul ascension journey. With life readings, get insight into your relationships, career, health, trauma healings, past life regressions, and more. Want to connect with a loved one who's transitioned? Scott's mediumship session can be the gateway to you and your loved ones in spirit, bridging the gap between the physical and the spiritual realm. If you want to enhance your own psychic ability, Scott's Intuition Builder session can help expand your psychic and mediumship abilities. So sign on to scottcruzpm.com to book your own personal session today.
And we're back.
Boom.
What up?
Hey, can you hear me?
Did Chris make it back or
no?
No, he said to reboot. He says both providers are down. I'm like, both providers? Like, don't you have one internet provider? Unless he's talking about his brain provider. Is his brain down?
His iPhone to just hotspot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but I don't have much time. I'm sure I know you don't either, David.
Yeah.
So we got 20 minutes. But
What's your most obscure conspiracy theories?
I'll go first.
Yeah, go for it.
My conspiracy theories. I don't believe humans were designed to live on planet Earth. I think we were placed here because I feel like there's other animal species. And other species